recruiting showcases and hybrid events. The lacrosse world is now riddled with these opportunities, and they're happening locally, regionally, and nationally. Generally speaking, you know, there's sort of a couple of new ones every year, and our stance on this is that, like, if it's convenient for you and it's worth your time, money, and effort, then yes, give it a go. You want to do your due diligence and make sure you know who's going to that tournament. What sort of setup is it? Is it a combine and then a showcase? Is it like sort of a massive group thing and then you're split up onto teams? Do you get to work with the coach assigned to you? Do you get a coach assigned to you? And then which college coaches are actually going to be there? Again, this is a sort of, because of their hybrid events and because the coach can see you in a bunch of different scenarios, it can be an amazing way to showcase your game. At the same time, again, there's no filter there. Somebody who's sort of, their goal is to protect you and to make sure that you're exposing your game in such a way that's favorable to you. So, you know, a few things that you want to be thinking about is that, like, who are you playing with, who are you playing against, what the competition is, how you're exposing the game you're exposing, and who is there for the duration of the event. So is the college coach only going to be there when you do the combine stuff? Are they only going to be there at the end of the day for a couple of the scrimmages? So you can definitely ask the organizers of each of these events, anyone that you choose to go to, how it will be set up, when do they expect the college coaches to be there for, who is actually contracted to be there, if there's a contract at all, so that you can kind of prep and be as prepared as possible. And then, of course, what you want to do is, like, look around once you get there. Like, how do you pick the parts of your game to expose in the right way? If, you know, you're playing a 77 short field, you're not going to, and you're a really speedy player, you might not have the chance to show your speed. So you don't just want to be working on speed. That's a situation where maybe you want to be working on your defense, working on your flashes, or whatever. So these events can be really tricky to anticipate and thus prepare for, and they're a really good way to maybe be seen by more robustly by a smaller number of schools as opposed to a big tournament where there's 1 million schools there and 1 million teams. But again, because the recruiting process is so aggressive and so early, you guys are showing up at these events at 13, 14, maybe 15 years of age. You don't exactly know your game, so you don't necessarily know what parts to pick out, what parts to showcase, what it is that you're doing great that people are looking at, and what it is that you shouldn't be worried about, that you're making mistakes on because no one cares anyway. That's always the risk with these hybrid events. And they're still a piece of this recruiting landscape, and therefore you've got to show up. So the bigger thing is starting to understand your game earlier, just knowing what's hard about it, getting good quality exposure at these events. It's not that you don't have the opportunity to be exposed, it's what kind of exposure you're getting that we want to make sure you're considering as you head into these events. Very important, very useful. I think the regional ones are probably the best. You know, and again, if you're interested in going to colleges that are attracted by the regional showcases, which are regional schools, or schools close to that region, then they're even a bigger thing to consider. Yeah.